first question is, will Kurt Busch have a full-time ride next season? It looks like RPM might make room for him by releasing Allmendinger. And RPM has been no stranger to big moves, because back in 2006 they picked up Bobby Labonte after he was released from Joe Gibbs. Stewart-Haas is another possibility. Since they're only going to be running the 10-car part-time for Danica, they might open it full-time. But where do you see him end up running?
Well, there's obviously a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation right now on Kurt Busch. As we said on our final speed shows before we went off there, right after Kurt was released from Penske, in all sports, normally performance prevails. And examples that we used was Michael Vick and Plexico Burris. Of course, that's stick and ball sports that don't have to deal with sponsorship. And what they did was much worse, obviously, than what Kurt Busch did. But normally performance will prevail. I tend to believe that Kurt Busch will end up in a full-time ride. Can I sit here today and bang the gavel and say which organization, which team it will be? I can't. I do find the Richard Petty motorsports one a little bit interesting, because we know what a very huge, strong tie that they have with Roush Fenway. And there is no love lost between Jack Roush and Kurt Busch, between Kurt Busch and Ford. They parted ways a few years ago on a pretty bitter note. I don't see the Stewart-Haas deal happening. I truly don't see that one. I don't know that, but I don't see that one. But, maybe if bringing Kurt Busch to Richard Petty Motorsports, if that's what it takes to secure sponsorship there and to keep a sponsor, sometimes you have to lay your pride aside, and that may be what's going on there. The biggest thing I would say there, Nathan, is I truly hated for A.J. Allmendinger, because he weathered the storm at Richard Petty Motorsports last year. When they didn't even know if they were going to exist. He hung in there, he kept driving, and I just think A.J. Allmendinger, especially since they brought Greg Irwin on, is so close to having a breakout season. And I hate it for him, because I felt like at Red Bull, just about the time that he was about to really start showing some performance, they released him and brought on Scott Speed. But you know what? What could be one man's misfortune might be another man's fortune. I think things would need to happen fast, and I don't mean to be derogatory toward David Reagan, because I know he's probably the leading candidate for Penske. But if something happens quick with Kurt Busch going to Richard Petty Motorsports or replacing A.J. Allmendinger, I think A.J. Allmendinger would be a perfect candidate for the 22-car Penske. So I guess in essence the guys would just swap. But that's just my opinion. I've not heard anything in that regard.
All right, and that kind of actually leads right into the second question of Rudiman, Vickers, Lally, Reagan, and let's just say for the sake of things, Kurt Busch does go to the 43. Let's even add Allmendinger to that list. Where 22 rides still needs someone, like you said, it at the moment appears to be Reagan's job to lose. Rumors saying, dating back to September, that Jacques Villeneuve wanted to buy Red Bull, so that could open up a spot. The 71 still needs to be filled with a seat. Where do you see some of these guys ending up?
Yeah, if the Allmendinger deal does not happen, then I truly believe David Reagan will end up in the 22-car for Penske Racing. I think it will probably only be a one-year deal because, he's got to prove himself. I say this cautiously because I think the world of all these guys. But, David Reagan, he's been around 5 years. He's only won one race. He's never made the chase when his teammates were making the chase. So that factors in. When you look at Brian Vickers is a heck of a race car driver. But he's been around for a long time. He's only won 2 races. He did make the chase one year. But the biggest thing with Brian is he did not do a very good job of auditioning, in my book, the last few races 10 pretty much hitting everything out there but the lottery. David Ruderman, he's a tough sell. You know, he's just a tough sell. I think David Ruderman's a great race car driver. He's won a couple of races. He's been the only driver to win races at Michael Waltrip Racing. Excuse me, but he's a tough sell, and he's getting some age on him. So I would say, if A.J. Allmendinger becomes part of this equation, no question the top seller, even though he would be the only one of them that's not won a race, I think the top selling guy is A.J. Allmendinger. If not, then I think that passes on to David Reagan.
All right, and away from all the rumor mill now, in the old point system with no chase, Edwards would have won, Harvick would have finished second, and Stewart third. Should pardon me. Should the person with the most overall points still win something at the end of the year?
You know, I don't know why we would tinker with what we've got. And as Daryl and I say a lot, you know, we don't live in a what-if world. When we go to Daytona here in 70-something days for the Daytona 500, every team, every driver goes there, and they know what the deal is. They know what the point system is. They know how you make the chase. They know how you get the wild card spots, and they know how you win the championship. And, you know, we could what-if it to death. But I hope so much they leave it alone, because we had 18 different winners in 2011. We had 5 first-time winners, and when we got to Homestead in the checkered flag wave, we had 2 drivers that ended in a dead tie. And what I like about what we've got now, it rewards winning, it rewards consistency, and as we saw at Homestead, it goes all the way down to the checkered flag at the final race. I just don't know. Nobody complains about our point system or the structure about the chase except some race fans. I don't hear anybody within the sport really complaining about what we've got.